Welcome to Hustle Estate from good old New Jersey and Detroit, Michigan. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Gilman.
And I'm your other host, Ed Hendrickson.
So week 9.
Yeah, so let's do like a little update. Let's here we are. It's week 9. I mean, at least in Jersey, we've we've claimed we've started to open up, which really
what does that look like?
Seems to be just parks opening, golf courses, public. I think technically like public and like state and county parks are open is what it is.
Okay.
There must be something where a mayor can stop that state or county park opening, because in Hoboken we do have a state park, and I think it's a county park, but it doesn't really matter. It's not open. It wasn't open it opened this past weekend, but the first weekend it wasn't open when they had the opportunity to.
Yep.
So honestly, that's really the only thing in New Jersey that's legally changed. I mean, I definitely have, and I haven't been out at all really, except for like, going for a run or something or a walk around the block. But I do feel like it's opening, like I'm getting the sense from talking to people on the phone that it's open more than that, just from a standpoint of people are just going out. They're not staying in anymore. So more people are looking at homes, talking about deals. It's just I think that they're trying to get back out and trying to do it. But the truth is contracting's still not, contractors aren't supposed to take on new business yet.
So construction is technically still halted.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we'll see once that actually officially comes due, because I was talking to a borrower actually who is a contractor as well, and makes his money doing both. And he was like, I'm not touching anything new. He's like, it's not worth the risk at all. And we discussed, he was like, I'm not even sure what the risk is. He was like,
I was going to say, what, like him not getting paid or something? Okay.
No, like the risk, like whatever fine or, whatever the city or
for
state
like doing it technically illegally.
Correct.
I see. Okay.
I mean, he was still going and like pricing jobs, but
right.
Like I know like one of the jobs he got earlier on was like a huge remodel, and he said to them like, do you really want to be displaced right now? Like I could start next week, but where are you gonna go? And that was before it like officially got shut down. But so it's kind of where we're at. I mean, I'm starting to get more phone calls for deals. That's for sure.
You said you were getting a lot of phone calls though, like last week, but a lot of them were not. I don't know. People are just like, they're like super shopping because they can. They're like, I know I'm not going to get a good deal, so who's going to give me the best? And maybe they don't find a good deal, but they're still giving everybody a call.
So I can just tell you, in the past 24 hours, I've gotten 3 calls for 3 deals. One was definitely...
Is that more than you normally would in a 24-hour period?
Yeah, probably, especially during this time, yes.
You would normally get 3, or you normally get like 1 or 2?
No, maybe 1, 2.
Okay.
Depends, yeah. I mean, we have a pretty high closing rate, not because I'm a good closer, like per se. It's just like hard money is hard money. If someone likes you, it works, right? It's more about the deal than you and me, at the end of the day. So I felt from my experience. Now it is very much a deal thing, almost more than you and me, because if they can find the right deal or the right person who's willing to do it, they're willing to move forward. So just real quick to recap this one deal, definitely the guy was shopping. I said to him, like, he's looking at a mixed use, which is standard lenders aren't doing mixed use yet. And standard, when I say normal, everyday lenders aren't doing it yet. That's like one of the things they cut off. They're only doing residential stuff.
Right.
So I told him, I was like, I can pitch it. And I think he basically had done a lot of research and realized after speaking to me that I wasn't feeding him any BS. I was telling him like, look, I could waste time calling people. I'm not going to though, because really we're at a point where I've exhausted those options. So he said, yeah, it sounds like you know what you're talking about based off my information. Let's put it on hold. So if I speak to my lender tomorrow, which I probably will, who would do something like this, I think that he's going to say no, to be fair. It's not a great deal. Either way, good times or not, it's just not. There's not enough room, really. It might be a good deal like to have in your portfolio, but from an ARV standpoint, it's not. Real quick, the second and third one, or really the first and second, I got quotes on. One guy is accepting the quote. The lender's going to look at the house tomorrow. And the other person said that the quote was too high, which ironically, it really is not high at all. It's a pretty good quote, but they've never borrowed hard money before. They've always been cash. So it's just kind of like, to them, they're like, holy crap, 12%? Like, yeah,
Right.
right.
It's
We're
super
not paying
high.
that.
Yep.
So,
Right. And
so
that's what
that is like,
Lewis talked about too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So look, I can tell you that and kind of give comfort to say things are a lot better, but this lender that I'm working with, right now, he's very different than the other lenders. Like he's not institutionalized. And what I mean by that is he's like, if it sounds good, he'll do it. If he's like, and it could make sense and he won't do it. Right. So he's just
Right.
like, oh, I don't like, I had a deal in Syracuse. He was like, not touching Syracuse. Just don't want to be there. Don't like Syracuse.
Okay.
Whereas my other lender would say, okay, well, what's the deal? Does it fit in the box? Like it's all about
Right.
getting, is it 80 and 100? Is it in this? What's his experience? Okay, cool. We're comfortable. Let's get an appraisal. This guy was just like, and I like this actually, because it's just like
Sure.
yes or no on the phone. Like he's just, you give him a call. Hey, Matt, what do you have? Nah, I'm not interested. He's like, oh yeah, I really like that deal. Send me the address. I'll drive by it tomorrow. Like I mean, that's
So
really what he
he likes
does.
to move. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. I mean, it's good. Secondary market is still not moving. There is no secondary lending. I mean, I heard somebody say a month. I think people are just talking right now still. So,
Yeah.
but how about you? How's Detroit?
Well, Michigan is still under like mostly a lockdown until the end of May, essentially. I think the date is like May 28th. I don't know why that's in my head, but that's somewhere around the end of May. But they're starting to like open a few things back up. So like manufacturing jobs, I guess they're supposedly like saying that's something that can be done. I know a lot of the car manufacturers are starting to like prepare to turn factories back on, which I guess takes some time. I have no idea what that looks like, but I assume to get people back in a factory, making sure everything works properly is probably not like an overnight process.
Right.
Probably takes a little time. So those things are coming back on. I also had heard somewhere like places like Lowe's, like construction can begin again in Michigan.
From
So
a contractor standpoint
I
or
I don't
just,
know like the details. I'd have to like look it up. But I believe I'd heard that construction like projects can begin to get started or like to continue. And like Hale and I drove past a Lowe's over the weekend and it looked slammed. So I assume people are buying stuff. Um, but for the most part, like things are pretty pretty slow. I mean, I'm on sabbatical, so I don't really have my ear to the ground at work. I can say though that as far as I understand it, two things related to work. One is mortgage applications continue to flow in, like it's like they're going out of style. It's just the volume is unprecedented. Um, I don't. I have no feel to whether like it's people that can afford to refinance are refinancing because I assume it's definitely that's a
so
portion of it.
it's a refi business?
I mean, I would imagine it is a refi continuing to be a refi boom just because the rates are
Hmm.
so low. I think I saw, I don't know if it was the 10-year bond rate was like at its lowest recently, like lowest something. It was one of those metrics that follows that like mortgage rates base their rates on. That was like extremely low, retail mortgage rates that is. And so yeah, as far as I understand, refi is still booming. I mean, it is purchase season. Technically, purchase season is beginning. So I guess if the market is still, every market's like location wise is going to be in a different spot. So if your market's not impacted that much, maybe you didn't lose that much money on your house. Maybe you lost none. Maybe your equity is still there. Probably every situation is a little different. But I mean, I think states are still able to close transactions, which is really one of the most important parts. I mean, appraisals are still happening, even if they're drive-by appraisals or non physically going into the house appraisals. There are options. I know they're on the table. Closing still can get completed, whether it's virtual or not. So I think that the overall mortgage process and title insurance process is still happening. Yeah, I think from working from an office standpoint, like I don't know if the CEO has made any updates. I know he did send out an update, but I don't know what that update said. I haven't been able to check. But I would be shocked if like it was like everybody come back into the office. I think I'm gonna edit that out.
The dick out of your ass.
Yeah, right. I think if I remember correctly, like originally the next potential time period to return to the office would be around now. I doubt that's happening with the state saying like pretty much you're locked down till the end of May. So my guess is like people aren't going back till at least June. And even at that point, I mean, I know we talked last week about remote work. Even a few other friends of mine that were talking, like, I'd be shocked if everybody came back, even maybe in this year. Actually, article today came out that all Twitter employees work from home forever if they want. Like they're just they're moving away from the potential office environment, or at least they're scaling it down quite a bit. I know Facebook, I know Google has also said to their employees, like, prepare to work from home for the rest of the year. So
crazy. It's exactly what we said last week. It's gonna happen.
I think
I didn't think it would happen that quick. I'm shocked that Twitter said that. But
I mean,
Twitter's it's gonna happen.
I mean, it's a big name, but it's not a big company. You know, like it's not a GE of the world. It's
right. Yeah, but if Twitter has 5 floors in a building and they can bring it down to 1,
sure.
Why not?
So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if my company was to do something similar in the future. They own a lot of real estate in downtown Detroit and other cities, and they own that real estate different ways than their retail mortgage business. But you know, it would technically hurt them. And I'd be surprised if they were going to be able to sell some of the buildings that they own in maybe what they thought was going to be a boom. Like they may not lose any money on it, but you know, they may not make the same amount of money that they expected at this point, just because other companies might follow suit, right? Like Amazon, there's other huge tech companies that might follow suit. I wouldn't be shocked. So I don't know. It's kind of like my boot camp is still going. There's, you know, there is concern within the boot camp itself of like, hey, are people hiring? You know, I think that's a legit question, right? There are definitely companies hiring. I know Quicken Loans and the family of companies is hiring people because they're just trying to keep up with demand. Right? You read in the paper all the time that like Amazon's hiring like people. Like there are companies that are doing really well during this tough time. There are other companies like the airline companies that are probably going to be like really struggling, right? So I think it just depends on your skill set, but it's a legit concern among my peers. I'm lucky right now that I have a job to go back to, but that could change, right? Like if the mortgage world dried up like 08, 09, maybe not, but then maybe I would have a new skill set that another employer would want. So that's how I look at that from a positive perspective. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, from your perspective, I feel like you're, I don't want to say just fine, but almost like in some perfect sense, it's like you're really taking this. So many people came into this pandemic approach and it was like, you know, joke, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to learn a new skill, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Like you didn't like do it on purpose, but like you are learning a new skill during it.
Yeah.
Which is like a major skill that probably when this is over, you could leverage into something else if you had to.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, at least you didn't quit your job or lose your job yet. I mean, it obviously it could happen, of course, but you know, you are in a good position that you kind of got the opportunity to do both. That you can go back to a job and learn a pretty good skill.
Yeah, I mean, I joke with people that I furloughed myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, I had planned this boot camp out since last November, so it's not like, or even maybe October. It's not like I knew anything about a pandemic that was approaching. Even
conspiracy.
Yeah, right. Even as I was getting ready, so like they gave us pre-work. I was completing that pre-work in the middle and end of February, right around the time that I went out skiing west, and that was like when some of the first cases in the U.S. were getting a lot of news coverage. But I had traveled, right? Like I was still preparing as if I would be in the office or in the boot camp like facility. Yeah, you know, I got lucky. or I don't even know if it's luck. It's like it's just it just so happened that this is how it worked out. I do know, like I was talking with one of my classmates, and they actually like were, I don't know if they were a temp, but they had gotten a new job. They were planning on going to the boot camp, and then like I don't know if they were going to work part time or what the details of that looked like, but they said they got laid off like 2 weeks before the boot camp began, and they'd only been working at the company for a few weeks.
Wow.
So that sucks, you know. But I imagine there's other people, like there are people in the boot camp that came from the food industry, right? Whether they were chefs or servers or bartenders or whatever, which is common. Like that's something that a lot of the boot camp uh, classmates, like a lot of people in these boot camps come from
That
other
industry.
industries,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. So I don't know if they would have lost their job or did lose their job, but they got out for this boot camp maybe at a good time.
Yeah. Perfect timing to kind of line up a skill. Just happens that way sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, you know, overall, you know, obviously not everybody needs a boot camp or should go through a boot camp, but um, if you do have some downtime because you got laid off or you're furloughed or, you know, whatever your situation might be, it is a good opportunity to think like, what is my next step here, right? Like maybe you're like, you know, your industry is going to come back or whatever, and that's what you're passionate about. Cool. Like, you know, start working on your resume while you're out of work or whatever. I don't know. But I would say definitely just don't do nothing.
Yeah. That's a key thing. I mean, really do something. Try to do something. I mean, I heard somebody tell me that they're in the mortgage industry and they're looking for other mortgage jobs actually. Um, and they're applying during this time.
Yeah.
They said, why not? Let's just see what
Yeah.
happens. You
Yeah.
never know. So you can be in a thriving industry even as call it mortgages are if you're doing regular refinances and stuff like that. And unfortunately, that's not this person's forte. They're not doing a lot of refinances. They're more of a purchase agent or loan officer, but it's actually more investment based. They spend a lot of time. They shifted their business away from regular retail to go to investment, which, hey, look, hindsight, you know, they made pretty damn good money the past 2 years.
Right.
Now they're like, oh, I wish I stayed, but I don't try to believe any of that kind of stuff myself because I don't know. I mean, let's just exaggerate and say that they were making 100 retail and they make 200, you know, invest their side. 2 years at 200 is 200 more than they would have made. So theoretically,
Sure.
they don't make any money for a year, but you know, obviously things adjust, people spend more, you know, there's so much stuff that happens, but hey, you know, just we got to be resilient. That's all. I mean, I
Yeah.
say that a lot, but we just have to be resilient and keep working hard.
Yep. I think flexibility here is important. And I don't know, if you don't have goals or you like don't know where you want to go next, like this is a good opportunity to try some stuff.
Yep. But definitely do something, right? Like this, who knows how long this will last, but it will end. Don't be like,
Yeah,
ah,
it
I
will
should
end.
have, I should have, or you started too late. Like start now, do something now,
Yeah, and
whatever it is. I mean,
it's easy for us to say that because we are making money or we have jobs. Or, well, I'm not making any money right now, but uh, I am making, I'm gaining like value. I'm gaining knowledge, which then I can translate and apply to something that will help, you know, increase or create salary for me in the future.
right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's exactly what we were saying, right? So if you're not making money right now, what kind of equity can you build in
Yeah,
your life? Personal
yeah,
equity. Your
yeah,
personal equity that you're building right now is this course. Can you read a few books? Can you do something? And honestly, if you really need money, I know it's a dangerous thing, but maybe you can deliver for Amazon or something or whatever. Look at Amazon jobs, some Fiverr jobs, whatever it is. Like there's definitely some stuff out there. It might be below your standard. You know, you were making $25 an hour before to go make $10 an hour on Fiverr. It hurts, but you know, it's better than not having anything. So, I mean, that's what I'm spending a lot of time. We've talked about this on the phone, talking to people, building relationships,
yeah.
and
This is a good time to build relationships for sure.
you know, hopefully that pays off in the end. I think it will, and maybe one of these loans I keep talking to these people about will actually close.
Yeah.
I have a loan that I started before this, and it hasn't. I brought it into the pandemic, and it hasn't closed.
Damn.
We're like supposedly the lender told me, he said he thinks we're closing next week. It'll be a nice little celebration for just how long the damn thing took. But cool. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Sure. Well, thank you everybody for listening here today. We really appreciate it. As you know, you can check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. If you want to email us at hustlestate1@gmail.com. And on our social media platforms, we're on Twitter and Instagram @hustleestate. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.